Fellas,
Oi.
Done.
how are you? Are we feeling a bit dusty?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a word.
Congratulations, mate. Can we cheers it?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Congratulations for the Wine Communicators of Australia best digital or best,
Communication.
or was it Wine Communicators best masquerading as Italian but actually not? What was the category?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, masquerading as Italian is what we do best.
Yeah, so Wine Communicators Australia, which is the representative body of wine journalism in the country, and it was Digital Communicator of the Year for Wine for the People.
For Wine for the People. So I guess for those that don't know the Wine for the People channel in all its glory.
Why wouldn't they know it?
They should know.
Why wouldn't you
they
know
should
it?
know because we're always telling people to check it out. So yeah, obviously Brendan, Noah, Henry of Unicozello fame with your YouTube channel Wine for the People, which I guess sits together but separately from Unico,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are we've got a YouTube channel. We also happen to have a winery as well.
We've had it's been an on again, off again relationship with Unicozello and the channel a little bit, in the sense that when you were doing the during lockdown stuff, that was all pretty heavily Unico associated, like all the title cards were. But then when we started doing the blind wine tastings, we made a bit of an active decision to try and keep the two a little bit separate, because we didn't want it to turn into people just being like, you guys are just trying to flog Unicozello wines at the end of the day. Yeah. But I suppose in the last...
So like our YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's two different things, because your YouTube channel services your customers, and that's your sort of focus. Whereas, we're thinking of people in Norway and Japan and the States, and literally all over the world. And that Unico can reach those places, and a lot of the places where our audience is, Unico isn't even there yet. And so there is a real sort of side benefit. But our sort of thinking was, if it was going to be about wine journalism, in a sense, I think that great journalism needs to inherently be void of as many biases as possible, and we just didn't want... we have a genuine love for wine and other producers in all of its facets.
Yeah.
And so we wanted that to be able to easily come across, and we thought that Unico would easily muddy the waters, because they would think that, we're just trying
It's
to
a sales
push product on them. What's happened since is we sort of reached out to the community, and they were like, hey, we would love to know more about the farming. We would love to know more about the winemaking. We would love to know. So we're sort of how Unico sits in it, firstly, is being the chief sponsor of all of it. That keeps it alive. But it is a vehicle of which we can say, oh, well, this is how wine is made, and this is how a vineyard is established and stuff. So it's less so about everyone should drink Fiano. Which everyone should.
Yeah. I think it's what's been great is that by happenstance it's kind of endeared us to Unicozello, and it's there's no way to track it. Is that Wine for the People has resulted in Unicozello sales, but there's no metric that we can analyze, because we're trying to keep it as separate as possible.
Which is really handy when we talk to the bookkeepers about why we should keep the channel going. There's no physical proof, but trust us, it's Marbo, it's the vibe, it's everything.
But it's great. We've got with the Discord, which has been one of the best things we've done with the channel. Now there's 800 people in that thing. It's when
it's an amazing community.
Everyone's
It's
super nice.
wild. Yeah.
And it's I've made friends in Chicago because of it. I go to Chicago, I catch up with people that on the
tasting groups. It's brought people that love wine, but they're maybe the only people in their friendship circle that loves wine. They now have a community they can go, hey, let's all just love on wine together and just sort of meet up and crack open bottles.
What's the aim of the channel then? If Unicozello traction is like a byproduct, and that's great and helps pay the bills, what is the aim for Wine for the People? Where do you want it to go?
I think what with the overall thing is that
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get some real...
providing an alternative to Decanter. We see this all the time, where Decanter, Wine Spectator, Fine Wine Magazine, they're amazing, fantastic journals and great piece of journalism, but young people largely don't access their information through the written word, nor do they have the budget to be able to purchase a lot of these quite expensive publications. So the hope for the channel is it's not like an end goal. We're not trying to get to a place. We're just trying to build more love around wine community, and give a great entry point, as is Unico. So this kind of sits within the same sort of spectrum. We want people to be able to enter wine, understand it, appreciate it, know that if they suck at tasting wine, that's absolutely okay, and we present that quite glaringly obvious on the channel. And then they can grow into it in a very inclusive community. That's literally it.
Like wine media needs a little bit of a push into a different generation. You know, I think there's definitely some.
I'm just putting in my guess for the wine. I don't want you guys to copy me.
That's unreal.
Yeah, I don't want you guys stealing all my dope tasting notes.
Yeah, we don't know, for those at home, we don't know what's in the glass here. Wade's poured us something blind. I thought that was, in the spirit of the wine for the people. And,
Absolutely.
But this time I don't know what's in there.
We haven't filmed anything in a little while, so I'm a little bit out of practice, but it's yummy. I'll tell you that much.
So
I like it.
high sulfur, very youthful. So it definitely feels like it's only entered bottle like kind of recently. It's immediately like my gut reaction went straight to Italian variety in Australia. That's where my gut, like textural Italian, done really well, Vermentino-y.
I was honestly straight up. I was like, "This is our wine." I thought Jade Jasper.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah,
It's my gut.
2024
waxiness. I mean, you guys wouldn't have tasted much in a while.
No, I'm not too familiar with Fiano.
It's a bit floral though. It kind of screams a little bit hint of Riesling or Gruner. Or
Yeah, there is that, like I was thinking about that. It could like definitely be something like Riesling freaky, even though the like acidity is not.
it's a bit like Gruner. But I just don't think Wade would pour us a Gruner.
Gruner sucks.
Well,
Gruner doesn't suck.
Most of the time, I agree
Gruner-
with you.
Gruner
Actually,
doesn't suck.
yeah, there's some great stuff out there. No,
But
yeah.
I mean, I'm 2024 Jade and Jasper is kind of like where.
You reckon that's what that is? I reckon it smells too waxy for Jaden Jasper.
Now I'm going to lock that in.
It's not bad
Right.
though.
Yeah.
Jaden, just it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah, I just tasted. I was like, I've poured a bit of Jade Jasper a little bit recently. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I was just like, yeah, it reminds me of that. It's not a thing. I think it is a Fiano. I'm going to
Yeah.
call it as a Fiano.
Yeah.
It's something from Australia.
Yeah.
We go about this very differently. As soon as I saw the little bubbles in the glass at the start, I was like, "This is a Riesling," which is what I stuck with in the end. So I ended up calling it a
I'm
Riesling.
going to go with Rees. I'm going to go with a Rees.
Thanks. I need someone to back me up here.
So some
Oh, it's got
description.
a screw cap, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
definitely
not
not
ours.
ours. So we
Oh,
got
okay.
ours.
And what are we
We
looking
got.
Someone do the honors.
Asyrtiko. Of course.
How did we?
Asyrtiko.
Anyone guessed that? That would have been absolutely like
Nice way.
Pinnacle.
I'm retiring now.
Just wait until you see this note, brother.
This is shit.
So it's amazing that you actually won the award based on those guesses. I mean, surely you should know what your own
Yeah.
wines taste like.
Well, that's the point. Is literally showcasing in a glare. Like we're not actors. We're very much not good at acting. And so when I come from obviously a technical sort of minded, part of the wine industry. So even me blind tasting my own wines and also not liking them, and us being comfortable enough to actually like publish that and put that on is. Because wine for a lot of people, I think we kind of get put into this sort of like, little rubric that everyone's got to love their own wine and everyone needs to push their own product. And I think it's just a fundamental misunderstanding about how the wine industry actually works. And so the idea was, I'll put myself with the under lights and fail in front of everyone to showcase that it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
And the continual repetition of failing as putting Doyle on the spot is like evidence of the fact that you can actually get really good doing that way really quickly.
It's too good.
Really quickly, yeah.
Hey, I saw last night's video. You blind picked a couple of those wines straight away.
Jura.
Dude, Jura.
Jura's not that hard though.
No,
right?
Yeah, as soon as you taste the visual, you're like,
Ask
it's
Joe
like,
Public to be like, what the hell is that rancio thing? And be able to align that with Jura. Like it's
You might be out of a job soon. Then bring back Gemma or someone else.
Yeah, true. I'm getting too clever for my own good, apparently. No, I think Jura is very much so like, it's like if you were ever robbed, you would recognize the face of the person that robbed you. You know what I mean? It really stands out in your memory. It's like, I'm never forgetting those eyes that looked at me, and it just tastes like fucking sultanas. And it's just like, yeah.
basically PTSD is what you're saying.
We took the whole team down to the Hunter Valley. You remember this, right? We took the whole team down to the Hunter Valley years ago and stayed at Mangus Vinden's homestead there.
great.
Did you get robbed? Is this where this is going?
Well, no, well, maybe. So, and I took down a bottle of. I got this weird offer on like some 1985, which is my birth year, Jura.
Yeah,
I
right.
bought a couple bottles, Magnum, and took one down.
Yeah.
And we opened it, and it was pretty fucking rubbish.
Yeah.
And we had like a wine spitting competition, and everyone got, I think, pretty ill on this wine.
Yeah. Wow.
And anyway, for like 2 or 3 years afterwards, it was like, oh, that's a bit Jura. That's a bit Jura.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
a lot of the guys
exactly.
here weren't into wine. They was working in the warehouse or delivery driving or whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, it gave him some exposure to something different, and
It was specifically 85 euro. Like,
yeah.
Any shit wine that were coming in, be like,
it's 85 euro. It's a bit 80.
Henry, how's it been for you with this this kind of journey with Wine for the People, coming from outside the wine industry? Because Brendan obviously doing it a long time, Noah less so, but like obviously studying and has all that knowledge. Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here because, like, ultimately we can't sell all of our wine to these sorts of people because there's not that many sorts of these people out there.
That's 5% of me.
If you can't communicate to people who are sort of outside of the wine sphere, then like you may as well just write an industry rag and keep it internally. For me, it's been fantastic to get exposure into the industry in terms of it's given me a whole pile of opportunities to do things that I never thought I was going to be able to do. Like my passion is having a chat with people, essentially. And it's amazing how when you start drinking this stuff, people are more likely to want to have a chat with you, sort of thing. So, like doing, I'm actually booked as the wine expert in Adelaide Fringe comedy-based wine tasting show, which is a joke in and of itself, but like that's been really exciting for me. Yeah. If you want to learn about wine in the Adelaide Fringe next year, I'm your guy.
In poor taste. Very, very funny. Very good show.
Yeah, the biggest.
It's basically like a wine tasting wine.
Yeah, it is. It is. Except that I also got told off because you came and saw the show last year, and I'm this much of an idiot that we were talking about Gruner before, and I was pronouncing it as Gruner Veltliner or
Veltina.
Gruner Veltina.
He's like, who the fuck's Tina, mate? Like, what are you banging on about? But yeah, I think that the why I'm here thing is just to sort of show that people like this will accept idiots like me and sort of be like, no, come along, you're doing okay, like it's fine.
I think it speaks though to like part of the problem that I think like we've spoken about heaps over the years with like wine communication, and something we've tried to address in our own way as well, of not like dumbing it down because there's magic in the details of wine and terroir and great vineyards and stuff, but then finding a way to make that accessible to a wider population.
I think if you spoke to someone who was 25 years old and did drink wine, it's like, well, give me a word association with the word wine. They'd probably say pretentious. Like that, and like us in the industry know that like a large part of it is very blue collar, and there is a great deal of a lack of pretension. But it's like there needs to be a bit of a generational shift towards just like making it more accessible and open and fun, and like that's kind of the whole point of the whole thing.
Yeah, like I think it's very convincing as like a visual thing when you see someone like out of the three of us, Noah's got the best palate. His palate's like peaking. It's amazing.
I didn't call Asyrtiko.
He didn't call Asyrtiko, but it's very impressive. And I think when someone can just just look at the wine in the glass, take away the branding, take away any sort of other influencing factors, and literally tell you that it comes from a place from the taste, I think that's convincing to people that are curious about their alcohol consumption, and if they're going to be making an active choice to consume alcohol, we know that they've got broad categories: beer, wine, spirits, and that wine has this inherent actual like meaningfulness to it. And seeing a young person on a screen simply going, actually, I can recognize this as being South African, and they go, wow, that's interesting. Like, what actually makes the taste South African? And then we can have other conversations from there. And so it's about it's like proof in the pudding for a lot of people, and in the justification for wine. We're trying to grab all the elements that make wine a very justifiable, consumable product. Not about the alcohol, but about everything else. And that's what the wine industry often does really poorly. We talk about lifestyle more so than, with wine, you've got the opportunity to talk about labor, to talk about environment, to talk about war, to talk about politics, et cetera, and agriculture, farming, all of these things that are actually really important concepts to young people. This is the easiest way to be able to have that conversation as like a third party without having it so directly. This and music, yeah.
Like great wine is like a great album. It's like it speaks in place and the time and people and a culture, and there's a lot of details within it. It's like, you could talk about like punk albums from the 1980s and was so influenced by the politics of that time. Yeah. So it's like if you it's the same thing with wine. There's so many different like little nuances with it. So
100%.
If you told that to a kid, they'd be like, hell yeah, sick.
We've always thought that if we can use these great tools that are here, like digitally, to try and transport people to the place where the wine comes from and the people that it comes from, it goes some way to bridging that gap and like making that connection that this is different from another packaged up alcoholic beverage. This comes from a specific place and from specific people who are amazing, and in this one time and season, and it is unique in that way. And so how do you, so people, they visit a cellar door and they feel that, and it's often how young people start with wine and go down that rabbit hole, right? They take their partner on a weekend away, they go to the cellar doors, they have some conversations, they go, oh shit, that was really fun. And that was really interesting. I never knew they did this and that and this and that. But not everyone can go out to the cellar doors every other day. No. So how do you use, the distribution tools we have now at our disposal to try and bridge that gap and connect people? And that's kind of how we approach it as well.
Something that I think is like really useful for people who are really just getting into the wine, because a lot of people who are just getting into wine, you're probably also just getting into like having nice food, doing nice things, and not going to nightclubs all the time, sort of thing. Like it's a transition period for a lot of people. And one of the things that, like, with the quite often when we're talking about like what do we want to get out of this, it's about like a dinner party fact. So like you can take this bottle of wine along and you'd be like, oh yeah, did you know that Jim Barry was the first person to actually plant Asyrtiko? And they can be like, wow, that's really impressive. You're like, yeah, it's written on the fucking label, it's not that impressive.
It's the great sharing booze.
Yeah,
it's the communicator. It's the great communicator. Wine's the best communicator across cultures. It's like soccer, like football.
So why YouTube? So what?
Because it's where the people are at. Like the wine
industry, compared to say even the other social platforms, because you obviously have Instagram presence and a good following there, but I think what's been interesting and quite brave of you guys is to lean into YouTube, where you really have to work much harder at it. I think
it's sort of live by the sword, die by the sword, and so if you build an audience on Instagram. As there are amazing sort of Instagram, especially like TikTok creators that are actually doing some very, very, very creative things and getting people into wine, but like those audiences are, it's like brushing against someone in the street, like they will move on to a different creator or move on to a different thing or move on to a different topic, and the attention isn't held for that long. And I think with something like wine, like our biggest challenge is that this is such a complex thing already. It already brings remarkable challenges in that fact. And so we do actually need to select for an audience who is willing to give attention for that little bit longer, so we can try to extrapolate all the complexity within this product in that time. So we use a platform that is better for long-form content, that is more like a portfolio of content rather than a chronological...
there's an evergreen nature to it as well, which is great.
And so YouTube was always the best place for us to be able to distribute that.
I think you don't trick yourself on YouTube either. Like on social media, you can have one or two videos that go nuts, and you can fool yourself to be thinking, oh, we're really on here, we're going viral or whatever, but it's so fleeting. Then you stop posting for a couple of weeks and it all disappears again, all that momentum. Whereas on YouTube, there's a big... if you win, you really win, but I feel like it does really keep you honest about getting people's attention.
And we're not aiming for virality. Like that, if we got viral, it actually kind of skews the whole thing a little bit too much, and we get like large amounts of audience of one particular, maybe it's like one particular fun video that we do, and then you become a victim of your own success. So we're actively trying to not do that, and we're trying to build a consistent... I know we're
so
trying
to make sure no one watches our videos.
I know, it's so frustrating, but it's
wine not for the people.
Good, slow growth, I think. And that's the same thing with Unico, how we sort of treat that. It's sustainable at that point.
I think that like the main thing is the active watching. It's like, of course, like with Instagram, it's like you don't necessarily choose to watch a certain thing; it just comes to you. Whereas with YouTube, you actually like go, I want to watch this. So there's an active choice.
This is pretty interesting.
It's pretty 85.
Oh, like bit of.
Henry's actually nailed it.
Is there another wine, or is this it?
We can do another one if you want, but we'll probably...
Yeah, I reckon we'll finish on this.
You can do some more wines off camera later on tonight. Nutty.
It's definitely seen some time.
It's lovely.
It's delightful.
It's got this sort of stressed malodiacetyl thing. There's butter, like fresh butter on the nose.
Yeah, I was going to say these.
Butters are much easier.
It tastes like...
What is this? It's so familiar.
There's a smell there, isn't it? That smells like it's a dessert of some sort.
It reminds me of like a vintage of terracotta that we did once upon a time.
Like 2020.
Yeah.
2020 terracotta.
Like a back vintage terracotta.
But
it doesn't have the acidity for Greco,
It feels older than 2020.
And fucking delicious.
Oh, there's a floor thing here.
It's like a creme brulee thing going on.
It's lovely. I much prefer this in wine number one.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Wine number one, like fresh seaside, kind of wine. You can imagine it with some oysters or something.
Yeah, like roast chook, like but it's fun, approachable. Like,
But it could have been Riesling. Like it could have been many things. Yeah. This, oh man, Shannon, but it's not enough acid.
no acid. It could be like something. It's the Chardonnay. It's been a bit of time.
It feels kind of like almost like Barossa aged skin contact thing because it doesn't have that kind of freshness. Like
I think like a Ruggabellus number or something.
Could be Ruggabellus. Could be Spinifex. Does his Solana, I should say. Sorry, thing.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Could be that.
The acidity is really
I don't know if we have that in stock, but it feels a bit like that.
Yeah,
or Ruggabellus. I know we have an old Ruggabella, or do we use it all, Wade? But you won't tell me. we had a 2015 Solomoto or Quomoto. Oh man, Ruggabellus.
This
I feel like it's just like it could.
It's not the other wine co's underfloor thing.
No, I haven't had that, but I don't
Wadowitz's would be a bit too like squeaky.
No, it's not quite at that point. I think this is maturation, not quite.
Who's the guys out in Victoria that do this? Crittenden.
No, this isn't Crittenden.
I just know it's not that because we don't have it in stock. Yes.
Well, I'm going to lock in Crittenden, even though that's a dumb thing. Yeah, but if I didn't have that bit of information, I would have gone with Crittenden.
I'm just going to go Chardonnay. I think it's just like 10 years old.
I'm going to go the Spinifex Solana.
And you nailed it. What did you say?
Oh, I can show you what I said.
This
This isn't a Riesling.
See, fucking nailed that. Boss.
You did nail it.
Bosh, back of
All
the
right,
net.
what do we got?
Ready? Back. Ready? Are we good? Oh, it's Bloom.
Nice.
It is a Chardonnay.
Wow.
It is a Chardonnay.
Awesome. I love this wine. I love this one. It's a new branding as well. This one.
I don't think so. Packaging the same time.
Burgundy barrels for 7 years.
Yeah, mate. I've actually never had this one. This is my first time I've had Bloom. This is really exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is great. This is really, really good.
It's got sulfur in it. How long's that going to last? Well, now that it's open.
It'll have a bit of
About a
sulfur.
week and a half, I reckon.
like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so since it's interacted with oxygen, oxidization, like, it's just slower.
Yeah.
It's as fucked up as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
This is really. It's a really good one.
How was last night? How was the award ceremony?
It was good fun. Yeah,
It's good fun.
Yeah, like, we're like it was held by hosted by the wonderful people at Pernod Ricard. It's not necessarily the same ballpark what we play with Unicos in, but it was good to be in. Like, got to see some friends like Katie Spain.
Yep.
And it was good fun. Like, the what's his name? Chaser, what's his name?
Chris,
thank you.
Was from Chase's War and everything.
Right, yeah.
Like he was the host. Very, very funny guy.
Yeah, he was the MC. Super lovely. We hung out with him a bit. It was good. And then there was a couple of friends that we ran into and just had a good time. But yeah, the award show, it was a late night. But yeah, the award show was like really classic, clean, and
So it still was before still like leads very heavily into in print. And I feel like we're taking the industry into this new space.
It's breaking brains. Like the wine industry is inherently conservative. It's just very, very, very conservative. And that's why it's always struggled to engage and relate to young audiences who have nothing. They don't own anything. They have nothing to conserve.
And even like, exactly. That's the thing. Like even like Andrew
Kayard. Yeah, MW.
He took out the top gong of Wine Communicator of the year, like rightly so, because what he's done with the Australian Arc is genuinely like so important. But it's like he's asking like young people to read books. And it's like, yeah, great. Well, young people should read books, but will they?
Yeah. It's also the cheapest version of that is $200.
Yeah,
and I'm like, there's a fundamental disconnect between people who think they can afford that.
So our idea is just like it's like we like that thing should exist and it's super important, but this should exist too.
Yeah,
that's how we get. Hopefully, we can get people watching it enough, excited enough, and then they'll read the book. You can't start with the $200 like tome.
Is he going to be pissed if we just like read the book and then we're just like, here's 5 things to take away from this $200?
Wine for the People reacts.
That's the longest react video of all time. It's 500,000 words.
Welcome to a 7-hour live stream of me reading the R.
If we acquired the book, could we just do like a 5-hour-long video of us reading the book?
No, we can't.
And then people end up just listening to the book.
We're going to pivot into an
audio book.
bedtime sleep channel sort of thing. I think that could be the move. But yeah, I think that So last night, we were chatting to this person. They turned out to be the brand manager for Yellowtail, and I was like, bro, I'm so sorry for all the things I've said about your wines on the channel.
Maddie, she was so nice. She was lovely, and she took it all in her stride as well. And
yeah, I get it. Well, it's what it is.
But like, they're the stories that actually captivate us. Like, they're the stories that we're thinking about from the Australian wine sort of industry. Is like, no one's really, from a young perspective, told the story about Yellowtail. We all think we know the story about Yellowtail, but there's many, many parts of that I think are visually very interesting. Another big one that we're focusing on at the moment is Tarango. But we actually have an Australian grape variety. We have an Australian grape variety, and it's actually making very yummy, delicious, Gamay-esque wines if handled the right way. Why aren't we... That was made in the 70s or 60s. You know, let's tell that story. We have the benefit of the Australian wine industry and being Aussies. Why don't we cover this stuff and share that with the rest of the world and do something really fun with it? So they're the stories that fascinate us.
Oh, good on you guys. Well, it's fucking great that you won that award last night. You know, we support the channel and love working along with you guys and have a lot of similar ideas about how wine should be shared and how people should discover wine and fall in love with wine. So it's inspiring for us and for a lot of younger people as well, no doubt. So well done.
Thank you.
Onwards and upwards. We'll go finish a couple bottles and
let's go.
Let's get on just a quiet one.
We've got some Bloom now. We're happy.
Let's go.
Let's get someone bust out the Comte.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Ciao.
Wine for the people.